Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the 86th Operations Group Commander, Colonel Matthew Wonderlick, welcome to today's ceremony. This afternoon, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Gibbs will pass command of the 76th Airlift Squadron to Lieutenant Colonel Timothy McCammon. As a reminder, today's ceremony is considered an indoor event. Therefore, the wearing of headgear and saluting is not required. Additionally, verbal cues will be given when it is appropriate to stand and sit. We are honored to have some special guests with us today. Please hold your applause until all are announced. The spouse of Colonel Wonderlick, Mrs. Amy Wonderlick. The spouse of Lieutenant Colonel Gibbs, Crystal, and their children, Henry and Grayson. The leadership team from the 86th Airlift Wing, the commander, Colonel Denny Davies, and his spouse, Erica. The command chief, Chief Master Sergeant Clifford Long, and the deputy commander, Colonel Nathan Bump. Friend of the McCammon family, Colonel Matthew Stewart, Joint Staff, J5. The leadership team from the 86th Medical Group, the commander, Colonel Andrew Herman, Senior Enlisted Leader, Chief Master Sergeant Sean Patterson, and Deputy Commander, Colonel Liana Vogel. The commander of the 86th Maintenance Group, Colonel Luke Buckley. The leadership team from the 86th Mission Support Group, the commander, Colonel Jason Schneck, Senior Enlisted Leader, Chief Master Sergeant John Obermark, and Deputy Director, Mr. Jim Butler. The leadership team from the 86th Logistics Readiness Group, the commander, Colonel Jason Wolf, and the Senior Enlisted Leader, Chief Master Sergeant Tamika Bowler. The Deputy Base Civil Engineer of the 86th Civil Engineer Group, Mr. Russell Hume. We also welcome all senior officers, commanders, directors, chiefs, first sergeants, family, friends, and the men and women of the 76th Airlift Squadron. Thank you all for attending. History reveals that in the Middle Ages, soldiers in the field would often not know or recognize their commanders. In response to this problem, the Continental Army of the United States conducted the first official change of command ceremony. Just as it has in the past, the formal change of command allows troops to witness the actual transfer of command between two officers and see their new commander firsthand. The change of command also adds color and pageantry to military life, preserves tradition, and stimulates esprit de corps. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthems and the invocation.
Post colors.
Sind es Glück
Good afternoon, everyone. I invite you to join with me in prayer, or as you feel comfortable. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we recognize that every good gift comes from you. We thank you for the blessing of this day, for the incredible privilege of serving our nation. And as we gather to mark this transition, we invite your presence into this ceremony. Lord, we look back with hearts full of gratitude for Lieutenant Colonel Gibbs, along with Crystal and their boys Henry and Grayson. Lord, thank you for the steady way that he has guided this squadron. Father, you know the personal cost of leadership, the heavy decisions, the time away, and the unwavering support of his family behind the scenes. Bless them all abundantly for their faithful service, and grant them a season of rest, even if it's only a short rest, along with fresh purpose as they move forward. Lord, today we also ask for your guiding hand to be upon Lieutenant Colonel McCammon as he takes over command. Equip him with wisdom, patience, and a humble heart to shepherd his people well. We also lift up Nicole, Maddie, and Miles in prayer. Lord, military transitions demand so much of our families, and so we ask that you would anchor them in your love. Grant them wonderful new memories of warmth, laughter, and a strong community here at Ramstein. Finally, Lord, we ask your ultimate blessing upon the 76th Airlift Squadron as they fly across continents, transporting critical leaders, delivering hope, and safely moving our wounded warriors. Lord, may you be their constant navigator. Protect their crews in the sky and watch over their maintainers on the flight line and comfort their families waiting at home. Give them safety in their missions and a deep, abiding pride in the vital work that they do. And now, Lord, may your grace go before them, may your strength sustain them, and may your peace rest upon us all. We ask all these things in your most holy and precious name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Mrs. Ann Dahl and Chaplain Fox. It is my pleasure to introduce our presiding officer for today's ceremony, the 86th Operations Group Commander, Colonel Matthew Wunderlich.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for attending today's ceremony. Colonel Davies, Erica, to my wife Amy, Chief Lawton, to the wing leaders, fellow group leadership, thank you for being here. Welcome commanders, chiefs, leaders, and airmen. To the Gibbs family, Crystal, Henry, Grayson, thank you for giving us your husband and your dad for these past 2 years. You get him back. While he will remain in our jets and in our wing, the phone should ring a little less frequently. And to Nicole and the McCammon family joining us virtually now, but in person next month, welcome to the Fighting Doves. Thank you for your sacrifice, for your own service to our country as you move yet again and make the leap across the pond to rejoin the 76th family. My thanks go to those responsible for this event. Cap Johnson, Tech Sergeant Schoon, Airman Irving, our narrator for the 86th MXS, Chaplain Fox, our proffers, our ushers, thank you. I would also like to thank Colonel Buckley and the entire 86th maintenance group, not only for generating our aircraft daily, but also lending us your hangar and also making these 2 airplanes appear in the past few hours. And a special thanks to Miss Ann Dahl, one of our own Dove spouses, for sharing your voice, your talent, and rendering the anthems. Can we give Ann a round of applause? My personal thanks go to the Fighting Doves of the 76th Airlift Squadron. Every day you move the world, you shape history by delivering diplomatic and combat solutions. Today we honor not only your commander, but also each and every one of you. Today and every day, the Fighting Doves stand ready, on alert, postured to provide emergency airlift, air medical evacuation, and just-in-time solutions to our senior-most leaders. Thank you. Brian Gibbs began his career as a Dove, running the gamut of the air mobility portfolio in the C-21, MC-12, C-130Hs and Js, and eventually back to the Learjet at Ramstein. Interludes in that journey include bagging the mythical Ramstein to Yokota white whale assignment, caring for wayward youths at the Air Force Academy, and coming full circle back to where you began. Brian and I first crossed paths here at Ramstein more than 16 years ago. We would encounter each other again at Al Udeid Air Base, where I helped Caesar run an aerial port, and he, Brian, ran a colonel as the executive officer to the director of mobility forces. Little did we know back then that this would foreshadow a future command tour, nudging senior leaders, herding cats, tolerating rodent populations, that's a beaver reference, and professionally tipping the scales toward the appropriate path. Under your leadership, the 76th Airlift Squadron excelled. You commanded one of the few squadrons of the Mobility Air Force that nests 2 weapon systems in one unit. You projected diplomatic power, maintained combat-credible air crews, and proved that the Doves were always ready when called upon for the highest priority no-fail missions across multiple continents. Your team ensured the retention of the C-21 fleet in Germany, navigated countless personalities across the highest of distinguished visitor parties, and did so with stoic professionalism. You ushered a new era of agile combat employment, galvanizing combatant commander options by incorporating the executive airlift portfolio into operational planning, pathfinding the future of aeromedical evacuation and resilient communications, all while sending your aircraft to new frontiers across an increasingly contested African continent, amongst the NATO alliance and throughout allied and partner nations around the globe. Under your leadership, the 76 transformed into a weapon system, a team of teams conducting synchronized operations with definitive strategic impact. You cared for your people, revitalizing aging facilities, instilling mutant pride, instigating the Fighting Doves to crush new challenges despite resource shortfalls, budget uncertainties, and evolving requirements. For the past 2 years, the Doves operated on the front lines of history, moving and safeguarding pinnacle leadership echelons from the White House, War Department, congressional delegations, combatant command headquarters, supported military commanders and more. When Operation Epic Fury began, you moved senior diplomats and commanders across the globe. You leveraged your aviators to lead the Airlift Wings Operations Center. You secured courier missions to move the defensive capabilities and advisors to all flanks of the NATO alliance. The Doves crushed every mission, found a way to a yes when others said no, and did so through the deliberate approach and mission focus provided by Lieutenant Colonel Gibbs. Brian, you are a mobility leader. You stayed credible in the jet, airlifting patients to the higher levels of care, raising the next coterie of fighting Doves. You met with triumph and disaster and treated those 2 imposters just the same. You raised the next generation of executive airlifters and tactical aviators alike across Herc Nation and the greater operational support airlift communities. Best of luck to you, Crystal, and the boys as you move up to the wing. Well done. The 76th Airlift Squadron receives a new leader today, Lieutenant Colonel Tim McCammon. Like the other 2 officers on this stage, began his career inside this operations group. After serving as a Dove from 2012 to 2015, Tim flew C-17s at a McCord for 3 years. After repeatedly demonstrating superior capacity at not only landing gear down, but also by repeatedly landing on the correct runway, Tim was clearly not a fit for that community. Tim excelled at Andrews Air Force Base, moving our senior leaders and furthering our nation's diplomatic objectives. He is renowned within the C-37 and Gulfstream communities and will certainly take the Fighting Doves to greatness in this next chapter. As you lead the world's fastest airlift squadron forward, projecting diplomatic and combat power across continents, the world will surely know what it sounds like when the Doves cry. Thank you all.
Thank you, Colonel Wonderly. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Brian H. Gibbs. Lieutenant Colonel Brian H. Gibbs distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 76th Airlift Squadron, 86th Operations Group, 86th Airlift Wing, Ramstein Air Base, Germany, from 1 July 2023 to 18 June 2026. During this period, Colonel Gibbs led the Air Force's most diverse operational support airlift unit, supporting the Secretary of War, 2 combatant commanders, and senior NATO leaders. His strategic direction of a $10.2 million budget and 5,000 sorties enabled 8,000 mishap-free flying hours, airlifting 455 patients to critical care and executing 326 diplomatic missions, including Israel-Hamas and Russia-Ukraine peace efforts that freed 48 hostages and 317 prisoners of war. Additionally, his staunch advocacy preserved USAFE's sole aeromedical evacuation alert mission, averting relocation of the C-21 fleet and advancing patient care through the first C-21 engine-running transfer, a contingency floor planning unit, and modernized aeromedical equipment. Finally, his focus on character and operational credibility ignited a total overhaul of the unit's processes, a command climate well above department averages, and the Air Force's top assistance fund unit. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Gibbs reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the commander, 76th Airlift Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Gibbs.
Thank you. I almost had a word malfunction there. Getting to my speech. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's a little warm out today, so I appreciate you being here and your patience. I want to do a quick few shout-outs for our ceremony leads, Captain Johnston and Sergeant Schoen. Flawless execution here today. So much work went into making today happen, and I'm so very thankful for your leadership and initiative. To the narrator, CD Airman Irving, we need to get you on the stat, buddy. You're doing fantastic, so thank you. To the team of the Doves for all the white glove, world-class effort. It really looks fantastic today. Everybody that had a hand in it, it's fantastic. Thank you. To Chaplain Fox for the wonderful invocation. Appreciate you, sir. And all for the beautifully sung anthems, and to everyone for being here. Colonel Davies and Erica, thank you both for being here. Crystal and I wanted to say thank you for your support and being here, helping us to tie a bow on a journey that we started with a phone call nearly 5 years ago, and it's great to bring it around full circle. Our paths have been fortunate to cross here several times now in the Air Force, and we're thankful for your example as leaders and for the opportunity to work with you again in our last chapter of the Air Force. To Colonel Wunderlich and Amy, thank you both for opening up your home last week. It was such a wonderful send-off, very nice touch. And for Colonel Wunderlich, for you specifically, sir, thank you for your mentorship this past year. It's been wonderful to have a fantastic learning from you and working with you as a partner. And you gave our team all of the room and latitude to be able to lead, to fail, and you were there to pick us back up, mentor us through everything, and be an advocate in our corner when we needed it. So thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to continuing our work together as a transition to the wing. I'm realizing now, though, that it's a good thing that I wasn't able to come in and be the OG deputy, because I think between the two of us, we have one emotion and about 50 shades of serenity. So it's probably best for everybody. So thank you, sir. For the entire OG team, to Colonel Eckert, Chief Roy, Chief G, K-Fed, who just got back, Rusty, Butters, Miss Petra, who actually runs the OG, the execs, OGV, and the RAs, thank you for making our lives in the squadron so much easier. It's rare to find a group staff that is willing to go the extra lengths to support the squadrons in the way that you do, and it's been an absolute pleasure knowing that we're supported by great leaders and teams above us. To our fellow group leadership teams, fellow squadron commanders and command teams, and our mission partners, thank you for being here today to help close this chapter on my life and start a new one with Tim, but more importantly for taking care of our doves so that they could keep their focus on the mission. You all have been stellar teammates, and I'm looking forward to paying it back to you all over the next year. To my fellow OG Squadron commanders, Colonel Weish, Fozzie, Brony, Revere, CH, and SQ, I could not have asked for a better group of commanders to work with. It was refreshing to be in a group of peers who built each other up and wanted nothing more than other teams and teammates to succeed. I'll miss working with you, and best wishes to you on your next adventures. To my Gulfstream and Learjet maintenance teams, what you do on a daily basis to keep these birds finely tuned, despite all the hours and cycles that we put on them with limited supply capability, turning the jets at all hours of day and night and into the weekends, it's absolutely incredible. Thank you for being the reliable teammates that continually go the extra mile to keep our mission moving and our airmen safe and confident in their platforms. To my quad, Justin, Asia, Holly, Nick, and JR, boy, where to start? Other than thank you. Thank you for being the dream team. I couldn't have asked for a better team to set the pace for this squadron. It was clear right from the start where each of your hearts and minds were, and it was in taking care of our doves, so that they could take care of our mission. Thank you for leading them courageously, for taking the time to mentor and guide me through all the twists and turns, and for always speaking your mind no matter what, and for leading the squadron with integrity above all. I will miss our time together dearly, so often pouring into each other's cup so that we can pour into theirs. Thank you for being the kind of teammates who we could depend on to pick up where one another left off so we could take a knee when needed and rest easy at night, knowing that the rest of the team will be there to keep things moving. I'm eternally grateful for you all and happy to know our families will be intertwined forever, no matter where we end up after this. To the front office team, the directors of staff, Kyle, PG, Eric, the execs, Greg, Krista, Travis, Isaac, Joel, Pat, Kurt, Derek, all of you. To my amazing civilian staff, Pearl, James, Valerie, and Sally, and the entire front office, thank you for your unrelenting care of the mountain of admin thrown your way. You all did it gracefully, never complaining, or at least when I had the door shut. Always taking such good care of the doves, so again, that they could focus on the mission. And for me personally, it was comforting knowing that whatever I threw your way, it was going to be knocked out of the park, so thank you. Thank you for being the fuel computers that I asked you to be for the squadron, anticipating demand, boosting the engine or bringing it back to idle, depending on the state of ops at the given time. And to my KSLs, Pearl, Michaela, Sarah, Amanda, Corey, Ann, Katie, Anna, Kristen, and Crystal, thank you for taking care of our doves and their families and for setting a culture of inclusivity throughout our squadron. Radios and socks, too many to mention. Thank you all for making ops look easy, though I know it never was. Surging 7.6 days at a time, sacrificing dinners with your family, and working through countless sleepless nights and early mornings. You all crushed ops like the professionals we knew you were. To James, Elfie, and Eddie, our Weilerbach family, thank you for helping to make the Gibbs family time here in Germany a true home away from home. Well, we felt so welcome here that we'd love to spend another 4 years. I know you'd love to have us too, right? It's been an amazing time together watching all of our Zoom Geisrecht families grow together and celebrate all the wonderful milestones and holidays together. You accepted us immediately into the crew as one of your own. Crystal and I will truly cherish our family's time together. And it's comforting knowing that there's people like you all here in the Kaiserslautern community that open your homes and take such great care and support of our airmen the way that your family does. Thank you for being such great friends to us too. To Tim, brother, many of you may not know this about him, but Tim and I go way back. This is actually the second time I've had the pleasure of sponsoring Tim into the Doves. The first time around, I handed over the keys to our apartment to him as Crystal and I left to go on to other things, and he inherited our place in Rodenbach 13 years ago. Unfortunately, I don't have a home to hand over to you this time since I'm sticking in it for another year, but I was glad to give you the keys to the office this year and the guide on here today. It's a bummer that Nicole and the kiddos couldn't be here today, but we're looking really forward to getting to know you guys and really our families coming together over this next year and watching you guys thrive. The Doves don't know just how lucky they are to have you as their next commander. I couldn't think of a better person with experiences like yours that are a better fit for leading this squadron. A repeat Dove with a humble start and an unforgiving Learjet, a global mobility turned executive airlifter and Sam Fox extraordinaire, and chairman's special staff and travel planner. You've got more prerequisites than probably any other Dove commander that's ever taken this stage in this guide on. But most importantly, I can already tell that your head and heart are focused on the right things. You're airman. That's where it is. It's going to be such a great treat watching you take the squadron to new heights. To my family, Crystal, I don't know how I could have done any of this without you. Yeah, the glasses are a good stretch. Put mine on too. Not sure if I've ever told you this, but on the initial feedback forms that we do with our bosses, it asks you who your wingman is. I've always listed you as that person. You're my rock, my sounding board, my coach, and the best damn partner anyone could ask for. You knew that you could do as little or as much as you wanted to when we got into this position for the squadron, and it was amazing to see just how you showed up for our families in both their successes and their lowest lows. The notes you received from the families recently about inclusivity and positivity were a testament to just how much of an impact that you've left on the Dubs. Thank you for doing this with me. I can't wait to go celebrate our 19th anniversary next week with you. To my boys, Henry and Grayson, I couldn't be more proud of the two little men that you were growing up to be. You challenge me every day to be a better dad, a better leader, and a better person all around. Keep being the kind, authentic, silly kids that you both are, because it's truly inspiring to everyone around. Exactly that. I love you guys. All right. And to the Dubs. What an amazing journey this has been over the past few years. Where does one even start to encapsulate all the things that you've accomplished in our time together? It was really hard to do so I figured why not start with why? Why were we brought here to Ramstein in the first place? It boiled down to two things: project power and create connections. Our priorities inside the 76th Airlift Squadron of culture, character, and credibility nested all well under these two overarching directives for the Global Gateway, allowing us to hone our craft and build connections and purpose with one another so that we could show just how capable we were of projecting America's power. You all tackled these priorities with vigor, and it was amazing to see. When it came to culture, it started with a squadron that was inclusive of everyone, welcoming them all in on the same, with open arms, out of the rotator with dreary eyes and right into the Dubs nest. It continued through family-friendly events throughout every month, with special attention to bringing everyone together around the holidays. Paying tribute to our heritage in IFO 21 for the 30th annual memorial and the 10th annual grants ride, a squadron facelift to infuse our rich history back onto the walls of our workplace so it resembled the pride that we had for the heritage in our DV airlifters and medevac extraordinaires. When it came to the priority of character, it was an innovative spirit that worked from the bottom up rather than top down. It was a caring squadron with big hearts, becoming the top donating squadron of the Air Force Assistance Fund, not in the Ops Group, not in the Airlift Wing, not at Ramstein, but in the entire Air Force. It was opening seats for a Space A on a training line and sacrificing that extra touch and go because you met a mother and her children who needed to move closer to home because they were displaced. It was the hard conversations that you had in times of change, and lots of change. It was taking care of one another, lifting each other up when we hit our lowest points, meal trains, sympathy cards, helping hand, or maybe just someone to talk to, and then turning right around and celebrating the accomplishments and milestones of another Dove, sometimes in the same day. It was helping to create and sustain the Air Force's first peer program for aviators to ensure our fellow aviators in the ops group aren't bottling things up because they fear of losing their flight status. Leaders of character defines each and every one of you, and I'm so proud of that. When it came to our priority of credibility to project power, boy, did you shine there. It was in homegrown instructor preparatory course to build our own and make them more credible teachers, coaches, and mentors. In an entirely new digital mission generation and post-flight process that we can do from anywhere in the world in case we have to disperse from our main operating base. The ACE concepts that you push the boundaries of for operational support airlift. Dispersed operations with our SHAPE headquarters and medevac partners, and through renewed alpha alerts and launch to survive tactics. It was combining your white glove DV support with renowned readiness for medevac when you picked up Speaker Pelosi in the middle of the night in a winter storm for surgery back here at Larnstein. It was the 455 patients that you moved to critical care, with dozens of those patients needing life-saving care within hours. It was the critical security efforts moved in the middle of the night that helped build a protective shield over our deployed airmen and women in harm's way in the Middle East. It was countless of strategic meetings that were held across the globe in EUCOM, AFRICOM, CENTCOM, NORTHCOM, and INDOPACOM by some of our most senior US and NATO leaders, military and civilian alike. Meetings that molded the geopolitical landscape around the world for decades to come. And your credibility clearly shined through a series of firsts. You were the first to work through routing issues after the closing of the Red Sea, and you did this while airborne, creating solutions for senior leaders on the go, advising them of ways to successfully mitigate risks at the appropriate levels. You were the first to field the new Starship capability in the Gulfstream fleet, providing lessons learned and instructional manuals to the entire executive airlift enterprise. Created the first C-21 contingency forward loading plan to be used if called upon for non-combatant evacuations. And you executed the first ever C-21 engine running patient transfer, expediting a patient from the C-21 to a C-21 who rapidly moved to the US. You were the first in the air without AOC support when the flag went up to put our fellow AES, PERC, and OSS ADVON individuals into a deployed location so that they could receive the rest of the 86th Airlift Wing. You were the first on the scene in Geneva, Israel, Poland, the Mediterranean, and the Middle East for peace talks, efforts that resulted in 317 POWs being released between Ukraine and Russia and 48 hostages being released from Israel and Hamas. Quite the amazing feats of credibility, if you ask me. And somehow, while doing all of this, you found time to lift one another up to the best possible versions of yourselves, to make a family environment that everyone wants to be part of and nobody wants to leave, including the Gibbs family. You did it all with your head held high, regardless of bumps in the road. You did it with integrity, with commitment, and with confidence. Being credible in our craft wasn't just a mantra, it was a requirement for our multiple no-fail mission sets that we executed across the globe, in near-autonomous environments with high stakes on the line. We strove to be capable, competent, confident, and committed so that the senior leaders and the medical patients that we flew had absolute trust that they were not just in good hands, but in the best, most qualified, and dedicated world-class airlifters. It's important because we do more than just move your average person from point A to point B. Doves, you got the leaders of the world stage to the places of consequence, the room where it happens, so they say. You brought a soldier, sailor, marine, airman, or guardian, or one of their loved ones to the best medical care our theater has to offer. You brought displaced families closer together and closer to home. Doves, the effects that you all have is written down in the world's history books already, and in the hearts of our fellow service members and their families. Someone out there is still alive and came home to see their loved ones because of you. The impact you have on a daily basis is immense, and sometimes more than we'll ever truly know. And this, Doves, is the reason why we focus so much on our vision of being leaders of character, credible in our craft. Without a doubt, we achieved that goal. And I can confidently say that you did so all while meeting my commander's intent. You all have proven to be worthy. And I'm so very proud of you all for it. That being said, now is not the time to rest on your laurels. The Doves cannot continue to call ourselves world-class, ready airlifters if we're not looking for every opportunity to continue to grow ourselves, those around us, and those coming behind us. Keep looking for those opportunities to make each other better and take the initiative at every turn. The world needs leaders like you, Doves, leaders of character who are credible in our craft. And you're needed more so than ever. Be worthy of leading them. Doves, it's been an absolute honor and a privilege. Blue skies to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Gibbs. The men and women of the 76th Airlift Squadron would like to recognize the Gibbs family with flowers and a gift for their continuous support. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command. Attention to orders. 86th Airlift, United States Air Forces in Europe, Ramstein Air Base, Germany. Under the provisions of the Department of Air Force Instruction 51-509 and in accordance with Special Order Number G-26-67, dated 18 June 2026, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy McCammon is hereby appointed Commander of the 76th Airlift Squadron, effective 18 June 2026, signed Colonel Matthew C. Wonderly, United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my distinct honor to introduce to you, for the very first time, the commander, 76th Airlift Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy McCammon!
We need to get this guy on the Thunderbirds like ASAP. That's incredible, man. Thank you. How can I follow up that speech? Incredible. I'm going to give my best shot. Good afternoon and greetings to our distinguished DVs, Colonel Davies, Mrs. Davies, Colonel Bump, Mrs. Bump, Chief, Colonel Wunderlich, Colonel Stewart, 86 Airlift Wing Group Commanders, Deputy Group Commanders, fellow Squadron Commanders, Commander spouses, dubs, mentors, family, and friends. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy week to come out for this event. For me and my family, coming to Ramstein to join the 76th Airlift Squadron is far more than just another PCS. It's a homecoming. 10 years after leaving here on the rotator, here we are again in the beautiful country of Germany on the historic Ramstein Air Base flight. First off, Colonel Davies, thank you for your leadership and for the trust you've placed in me. I'm humbled to be leading in this storied wing and to take the helm of a squadron that enjoys so much support here at Ramstein. Colonel Wunderlich, thank you for officiating today, for your guidance, and for welcoming me to the 86th Operations Group with open arms. Brian, thank you for setting the standard of excellence and for your unwavering pursuit of a culture of family in the 76th. You've now had the unfortunate task, like you mentioned, you beat me to it, of being my sponsor twice to the same unit. And I couldn't have asked for a better or more welcoming experience arriving here. Nicole and I are absolutely stoked that you and Crystal are sticking around here for another year of good times. There's no question I have incredibly large shoes to fill, and I hope to build on the strong foundation that you, Justin, Holly, Nick, and the team have created. Chaplain Fox, Miss Ann Dahl, Captains Johnston, Rattray, Lieutenant Keel, Master Sergeant Lindquist, Tech Sergeants Schoen, Smith, Bramble, Morrissey, Senior Everett Irving, Senior Moore, and the rest of the doves that supported this event, thank you for putting your time and effort into making this ceremony a success. We really appreciate that. To my children, Maddie and Miles, who unfortunately couldn't make this event in person, I want to thank you for all your love, patience, and wisdom, day in and day out. Mom and I are so excited for you to be able to experience life here in Europe, and we can't wait to watch you learn and grow with new experiences. We love you guys so much. Nicole, words can't begin to describe how grateful I am to be able to share this life with you. I'm in awe of your kindness, intelligence, and introspective spirit. Thank you for being my ride or die. And finally, to the men and women of the 76th Airlift Squadron, the mighty and illustrious doves, I'm both immensely proud and sincerely humbled to be your commander. Your dedication to the mission, expertise in your craft, professionalism in everything you do enable success in our multi-aircraft, multifaceted mission set. As your commander, I will work tirelessly to lead with empathy, consistency, and decisiveness. Together, we will continue to build on a culture of trust and cooperation, and I will work to earn your respect every single day. I will ensure you're equipped with the right tools to succeed in your mission, whether that's here in Europe, in the States, or wherever we are tasked to operate. My challenge to you is to own your craft and to lead without compromise at every level, and I vow to do the same for you. Together, doves, we will forge an unbreakable team, relentlessly pursue excellence, and dominate every mission set before us. Let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel McCammon. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of Colonel Wunderlich, thank you for attending. Please join us in congratulating Lieutenant Colonel McCammon and his family with a reception in the rear of the hangar. Have a great Air Force Day.